legitimate political discourse.
And I want to begin by talking about how Doge is still rampaging through our government at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they have flagged the image of Ilana Gay, which is the name of the aircraft that carried the first atomic bomb, because it was flagged for having the word gay in it.
Mm-hmm.
And context doesn't actually matter. And I just want to say, do these people think that words always meant what it does today? Like, do they watch the Flintstones?
Well, the pilot of the plane, named the plane after his mother. His mother was named Enola Gay, whatever his last name was.
Yeah.
And so that's where it came from. And then, yeah, this is stupid. This is just like, and Rachel Maddow said it a couple weeks ago. There was a right-wing news agency that had just gone through, had a macro that would change the word gay to homosexual
Yeah.
every time it saw it. So then Tyson homosexual won the gold medal at the Olympics.
Yeah, those kind of algorithms that don't take into account context aren't very good. They are very efficient, though. If your job is to not actually do what you're supposed to be doing, and instead just look like you wasted everyone's time. Now, with
Well, and that's what Doge is doing to the government. That's what Doging is. It's just an algorithm. These little kids don't know what the fuck they're doing.
yeah,
They're just following the program.
well, I think we should take a moment to discuss what the government's becoming more efficient at doing.
Oh, okay. Fascism.
That
They're real good at fascism.
that was supposed to be a lead-in to.
Oh, well, I'm gonna bitch about the fascism because they arrested Mahmoud Khalil for being a protester last summer, and he violated the executive orders that Trump wrote banning anti-Semitism last month. So they must be effective retroactively, and he's going to be deported, made an example of, because
Even though he is here perfectly legally.
yeah, he is a legal U.S. resident. He's in a prison in Louisiana, waiting for a plane ride, probably to Guantanamo, and because there is a ban on anti-Semitism. The Party of Free Speech has put a ban on speech and protesting because hypocrisy is how they own you.
Exactly. Now, what especially gets me is the phrasing in the Declaration of Independence was that these truths were self-evident and that these rights were inalienable. And that's what's really notable about this sort of idea that they only apply to a certain group of people. In this case, I guess it's supposed to be people who, well, act as we want, as it's always been the motto. But I remember I think it was Jesse Kelly say on Twitter that the Constitution doesn't apply to people who aren't U.S. citizens. That's nonsensical.
Yeah.
It applies...
Human rights are human rights.
Yeah.
Even though the UN Human Rights Council is anti-Semitic. Because when I heard Trump say that, standing next to Yahoo, we just pulled out of the UN, anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council.
Which...
I knew we were fucking doomed. Right then and there.
Well, I also want to point out...
I was the only one that heard that because he'd also claimed ownership of Gaza and was going to build the new Trump Tower. Got to create some fucking jobs after we fired 100,000 federal workers. Of course, the jobs are in Gaza, but...
Well, I also want to point out...
They're still only for white people.
I also want to point out real quick, it's kind of funny that this is supposed to be some big statement against anti-Semitism, because you know why the UN Security Council has been consistently unable to get any real action against Israel taken?
Why?
Because 5 countries have veto power, just permanently, and one of them is the United States.
Yeah.
There have been several times where the UN has considered taking action against Israel.
Well, and we all take turns running the Security Council. And then it just happened to be Russia's turn this time, so that's when they decided to bomb Ukraine. Because they're in charge of the Security Council. And fuck you. Just fuck you. That's all there's to it. It's a giant fuck you to the world.
Well, it's especially notable because the only real, I'm not going to say the only real ally, but the biggest ally Israel has from the international community is the U.S. Look at the votes of basically any resolution condemning inaction of Israel. It tends to be 194 countries. I believe that's how many countries have voting rights, or I believe it's 196 have voting rights in the UN, voting for it, and then the U.S. and Israel voting against it.
Yep.
That's what consistently ends up happening every time. Or at the very least, a lot of the time, I should say. I'm sure there are exceptions to that.
Well, and the funniest part was when the United States voted with Russia not to say anything bad about Ukraine or the Ukraine war anymore. Russia's not at fault anymore.
Yeah,
Under the UN.
And Israel voted with them.
Yeah, and the media said they voted with Russia and Iran and North Korea. Nobody ever said Israel, but Iran didn't vote with them. Israel did. It was like a bait and switch. A media bait and switch. And that was MSNBC. That was Peter Alexander.
Yeah, and that's
dirty fuck.
And that's the best of the three networks right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're screwed. We're doomed.
But we'll be here to break it down while we're being doomed.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's got to point and laugh.
But going back to the mention before, this notion of, I should also point out, anti-Semitism being a deportable offense, even if I granted that what this person did was anti-Semitic, are we gonna, didn't these guys do a massive fight for keeping Confederate statues up? Are we gonna tear down... Are we going to tear down the statues of Henry Ford? Because he was such a big anti-Semite that he gave out copies of Mein Kampf with his vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
He bought a newspaper, the Dearborn Independent, I believe, and ran a syndicated column in there, which was collected into a few books called The International Jew.
Well, let's get this all clear of the air. We're going to talk about Henry Ford. Let's bring in Rockefeller, too, because every truck that carted Jews away to concentration camps was a Ford truck fueled by Standard Oil.
Well, yeah, so what are we going to do now? I guess because that was history, we have to be all nuanced and shit. We can't just condemn that.
Well, they rewrote that history, so we can't talk about that anymore.
That is true.
January 6th doesn't exist anymore, neither. Can't never talk about that again. Because they've been pardoned. Now it's treason. If you talk about it. They're gonna hang Liz Cheney.
God. Okay, I think that's a good end of this segment.
Yeah, hang Liz Cheney. Right on. We'll be back. 11 seconds. Woohoo, it's part 2.
So, the tariffs are being delayed. I think it's another month, which is the second or third time they've been delayed.
Oh, that's the second time, I believe.
Okay, so...
But the Canadians are calling it Tariff Tuesday.
Well, what gets me is, first off, we keep delaying them. I mean, I guess all he needs to do is delay them another, let me think, 46 times?
Well, the tariffs are going to make us rich.
Yeah, that's what the other point I was going to make.
What the fuck's he fucking around for? If the tariffs are going to make us rich, we got to get rich to pay the inflation from the fucking tariffs.
Yeah, that's what I was also going to point out is, apparently protectionism is a very good economic policy that we're also delaying the implementation of for some reason. Because at the end of the day, they know it's not only is it not popular, it's just not a good policy. And so what I believe they're trying to do, and this is a little bit of a guesswork on my part, is they're waiting for it to look like they have some other justification. Just like they did last time. Remember, it was a trade war?
Mm-hmm.
But if protectionism is so good, if it will make us all rich, as Donald Trump said, then why exactly are we fighting wars with the goal being eventually, I'd assume, we stop doing them? Metaphorical wars, mind you, which are fast and easy to win. Remember that one?
Uh-huh.
And it was so fast and easy to win. He said that in, like, what, 2018? It was either 2017 or 2018. It remained there the rest of his administration.
Yeah.
Because that's how fast and easy to win it was.
Allow me to quote the great philosopher, Pee Wee Herman.
It's just utter nonsense at this point.
Yeah.
It's this notion that exists primarily because at the end of the day,
It's bullshit. People give fucking Republicans credit like they have these opinions and these ideas. They're all bullshit. They know they're full of shit just as much as I know they're full of shit.
yeah.
It's not some fucking horrible mistake that crashes the fucking economy. They want your 401k. They haven't looted your 401k since George W. Bush looted your 401k. So now it's time to crash the fucking economy. Money doesn't appear and disappear. It travels. So if money's going from your 401k, it's going to someone else.
Well, yeah, and you saw what was happening to the stock market last week, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which was especially...
That's the plan.
And that's especially...
They lied to you.
Yeah.
I told you they were lying to you. Remember? Of course you don't.
And that was just before his speech on Monday, wasn't it? Where it was, the stock market was tanking.
Yeah. Yeah, he made a speech on Tuesday. Didn't mention stock market taken. Didn't mention Ukraine or Russia till the very end where he pulled out this letter of capitulation from fucking Zelensky. Oh, well, don't get me started on that. That speech was just dumb shit. And then to censure Al Green for shaking his cane at him like Grandpa Simpson. Oh my God. And then I went to a town hall with Marcy Kaptur and I didn't see that she'd voted to censure Al Green until after. So I only got to message her on Blue Sky instead of telling her personally so she could hear the disappointment, anger in my voice. And I had the chance, so now I'm mad at myself.
Well, what gets me about that as well is it would be one thing if that was something that was completely new. Then okay, we can argue, maybe it's unprecedented, maybe it's uncivil, I don't care. Personally, it's not my biggest concern, but I can at least understand why people would dislike that. However, the same things happened under Biden, the same things happened under Obama.
Yeah.
It was
Marjorie Taylor Greene did the same thing Al Green did. But Marjorie Taylor Greene was white. She was a whiter shade of green.
Well, and remember when Joe Wilson...
And Republicans are corrupt. And laws are for liberals. It's corruption fest. Woo!
I was going to add, remember when Joe Wilson did that to Barack Obama back in, I think it was 2009?
You lie.
Yeah. For something that Obama wasn't lying about, by the way.
No, because they're pieces of fucking shit.
Exactly. Fundamentally, it's just so worth noting how obvious the game is at this point.
Yeah. Anybody that's taken Fascism 101 can see right through all this fucking bullshit. Everything Trump and Doge has done, all the cuts they made, have been our assistance and our protections from fucking doom. We're not worried about climate change anymore. We're not worried about health issues or vaccines or being robbed blind from corporate entities or, anything that was designed to protect America has been kicked to shit. And hurry up and smash the Department of Education before they're smart enough to know what we're fucking doing. Well, too late.
Yeah, and isn't Trump set to sign an executive order abolishing the Department of Education?
Yeah.
Which I should note is not how anything works.
When he made Linda McMahon secretary, her job was to work herself out of a job.
Well, that was also DeVos's role back in the first administration.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a horrible person, too.
I still can't believe Linda McMahon, the wife of the guy who runs WWE.
Who ran WWE.
Oh, yeah, who ran WWE.
Until he was, had to resign in disgrace because of his numerous sex scandals. It's true.
I know, I was following that.
Yeah, it's a Kurt Angle reference. It's true. It's damn true.
And that's who's in charge of everything. And that's who's in charge of the DOE now. Do you think... And ultimately, the main reason why she was picked... Same reason why she was picked to lead, what was it, the Small Business Administration last time?
Because she's a donor. That's why any of them get picked.
That and she couldn't get into Congress. She tried to get into Congress back in, I think it was 2010.
Well, after she resigned from the Small Business Administration gig, she ran Trump's super PAC during the campaign. So she's,
She's just one of those people who's been in the administration the entire time.
She's orange-faced.
All because her husband is friends with Donald. That's what it comes down to. Because I know Donald's been on WWE before.
Yeah, the McMahons are huge Trumpers, and it's disgraceful. And I'm sitting here wearing my Shinsuke Nakamura t-shirt because I'm a wrestling fan. So yeah, bring on the hate for that too.
Well, at the end of the day, we're all hypocrites.
He's a goddamn hypocrite, anti-Semitic wrestling fan. Fuck him. What's he gonna do?
Anyway, I think that's everything that needed to be said.
Yep, don't turn heel like John Cena. We'll see you next time.